Well, it's no secret we let a few choice words fly on our uncensored show here. Sorry if you are offended. For you watching at home, letting a few swear words out may actually do you some good, but only if you use them with caution. My next guest explains exactly why. Take a look. Josie Pickens is here on the Factor Uncensored. Josie, now, I've had my cursing moments. I've had them a time or two, but now we're hearing there are reports out there that say swearing can make you happier. So explain that to us, how swearing can make you happier.
Listen, I am an advocate for swearing. I think that from the studies that I've read, swearing can actually help you kind of alleviate pain or move through pain, right? And we're not just talking about physical pain, like, oh, I hurt my knee, you know? But we're also talking about sometimes we are struggling emotionally or mentally, and sometimes just regular language doesn't work, right?
Right,
or even if we're talking about, this heat outside, which is painful. It's one thing to say, hey, it's hot. It's another thing to say,
Now, when is that cursing? When does that cursing just go too far and it becomes useless and it only makes you look bad?
I think, when we are cursing at people instead of using simply curse words, right? So like when we're using derogatory language towards people, of course, that can be harmful from the person who's receiving that, and even harmful in coming out of our mouths. Like we got to learn to watch our language when we're speaking to one another and make sure that we're building instead of destroying relationships. So that is a time when it can be harmful. Of course, if we are in certain professional environments, then we should, watch the words that we say, watch the things that come out of our mouth. We just can't go around being all flagrant and wild when we're at work. Right. I think also, it's a social thing as well, depending on what, you aren't going to cursing in church. Right. I'm a Southern girl.
Right.
So
right. Absolutely not
acceptable. I tend to try to watch my language when I have a 16-year-old. I tend to try to watch my language when I'm around my daughter. She does not curse in front of me, although I'm sure when I'm not around, she probably, and she's with her friends, she might let a curse word slip here or there. So there's a certain level of respect that we have to think about when we're using that kind of language. So I think all of those are cases where we have to think about whether it's appropriate or not to use that kind of language. But when we're trying to alleviate stress, when we're trying to get a certain kind of exclamation added to what we have to say.
There's no other way to punctuate it but with a curse word.
Listen, my people are from Louisiana. I grew up around cursing folk. So I never saw it as something that was necessarily disrespectful or harmful, like I said, unless it is something that was used towards someone or against someone. So, I know that there are some folks who are still trying to be proper, but when I think about it, I think about Toni Morrison in her Nobel Prize speech, and she says, we do language. And that's the meaning of life, right? So like we use language to communicate, and we should feel free to use language that might not be traditionally considered socially responsible or socially acceptable if it gets out what we need to get out.